Since Donald Trump's, to put it mildly, very uninspiring reintegration or relaunching of his campaign, which wasn't attended by anybody except, I think, a disgraced House member who was going to be leaving the House anyway. And people were trapped in, they weren't even allowed to leave. And since then, I'll tell you, it's been quite a 2 weeks from defending the insurrectionists to hosting white nationalists and Nazi sympathizers at Mar-a-Lago to saying that we should shred the Constitution. So I guess my question is, it seems to me that the Republican Party is finally ready to move on from Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is not ready to move on from the Republican Party. So, A, do you finally agree enough's enough and it's time to get some fresh blood in on your side in terms of being someone who's a MAGA person? I'm not. And how do you extricate yourself from Trump?
Well, I'm going to be a broken record because I've said this so many times, Dave, and it's not going to change. I just, I want whoever's going to be the most conservative candidate in the general to win. And I don't know who that's going to be. And it's more of the same in terms of the things that you just listed. So when Trump says, let's just shred the Constitution, that's a figure of speech. He's saying that the Constitution was already shredded by this new evidence. And by the way, it's not just Elon Musk from Twitter who was saying this. Jack Dorsey admitted the same thing, that Twitter suppressed this story. What's new is that we have the paperwork to back up what Jack Dorsey already said, the founder of Twitter, who's very liberal. So he's saying the Constitution was already shredded by.
I've already commented on that one, so let's move on about that. But as far as Trump, because again, what I'm hearing is, yes, you're going to vote you want the most conservative candidate. Well, that's great, but that may not be what the primary system gives us. We have to remember, don't underestimate Donald Trump. And by the way, let me just say this. Everyone's talking about Ron DeSantis. People who know Ron DeSantis personally say he's almost borderline on the spectrum in terms of being someone who's very shy. He doesn't like people. He doesn't like campaigning. He's very green. Okay, when you look at some of the candidates like Scott Walker, remember Scott Walker in 2016 was going to be the candidate,
yes,
and that didn't work out. So you literally have to think about Donald Trump is going to run a bus through Ron DeSantis in the debate. So I don't see how. And the more candidates that run, the more likely he is to get the nomination because it's going to split everyone. So how do you do this? Because he is not the nominee that the party wants. So I still haven't heard an answer from you. How do you move past Donald Trump? Because I think he's going to burn the house down before he goes on peacefully.
I'm not going to endorse or unendorse in the primary. I'm just not my friend. And
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, how do you move past someone? What do you do to move on to the next chapter? How do you stop him from burning down the house if he doesn't get the nomination? These are fair questions. I want what's best for the Republican Party. It's best for our system. I'm a Republican.
I will say if for some reason he doesn't get it, I hope that he doesn't go into a third party race. I would be disappointed about that. So, that's so. But we'll see. I don't think it'll get to that. But I am out of the game of prognosticating on these things, especially when it comes to.
But you would acknowledge that it's getting worse and worse in terms of the stuff that's going on with the Nazi sympathizers and all this stuff. And the derangement seems to be getting worse. And you don't think it is, or you're totally comfortable?
Look, this guy, Trump didn't even know who he was. I'd never heard of him. He was a friend of somebody who is mentally ill right now. And Kanye West, he said some horrible things, and he's not in a good place right now.
But Nick Fuentes, no one accused him of being mentally ill.
I'm saying the reason why Fuentes was there was because he was with Kanye, and Kanye is a friend of Trump. That's why he was there. This Fuentes guy was not hand selected as someone known to Trump to come and have an exclusive one-on-one meal with him because he wanted to be a white whatever. Like, it's just so that narrative, again, it happens in the media over and over. So it's a broken record of how the media wants to spin things that are just not true.
But this is well. First of all, I want to say one thing. In case have you ever noticed that when Donald Trump says he knows everything, he knows nothing? I know more about ISIS than the generals. And then when he says he knows nothing, he knows everything. David Duke, I've never heard of the man. Who are you talking about? So for you to actually tell me with a straight face that Donald Trump had never heard of Nick Fuentes, first of all, is preposterous. Secondly, you're inviting people to dinner. It's a public setting. The word is going to go out. You were probably going to do a little homework. If I'm having someone over, I usually ask them, "Oh, you want to bring a guest? Who is it?" Come on. Seriously?
I agree. There should have been more vetting. So we're going to agree.
Fair enough. Well, sock it to me.